Hello everyone, and I have what I think is a really interesting video for you today. Canadian 8mm Mauser ammo. Now, if you know much about history and small arms, especially during World War II, you would know Canada never used 8mm Mauser bolt-action rifles. So you might wonder why they were manufacturing this type of ammo. In this case, the most commonly held belief among collectors is that this ammo was intentionally designed and mislabeled with a date so that it could be given to rebel groups and militia groups in South America, the American CIA, China, and a few other organizations that they didn't want it to be known that they were supporting, which makes this incredibly interesting and incredibly collectible ammo. That means this ammo is relatively scarce, however, I managed to get some and I want to shoot it for you today. So I have the elusive Canadian 8mm. Let's see how it shoots. Ah! Los Rojos! 2800, 2690, 2752, 2772, 2775. There are more of them, we gotta reload quick. Two 787. 2796. 2776. 2725, 2777. So let's talk about our time on the range. Our velocity low was 2,690, and our velocity high was 2,800, with a total deviation of 110 feet per second altogether. Now that leads to an average of 2,765, and I did not have any issues with hang fires or duds using this ammunition. In other words, for the range, this ammo is really good. It's really usable. Because it's that light ball, the higher velocity is no concern. It's just an all-around solid round. However, if you have some, you might not want to shoot it, and we'll get to that at the end. I don't have a box for this ammo, but I do have some pictures for what this ammo looks like. They come in these cardboard boxes, and sometimes they're labeled that they're from Canada, and it says exactly what's inside. I've also seen boxes that are just brown cardboard boxes like you see with this 9mm box that has Sharpie on top. Of course, the Sharpie wasn't on top originally, and it was just brown, unlabeled boxes that they could send to these areas and nobody would know about it. This ammo is incredibly historically interesting. However, I do want to be clear, we don't necessarily know as a fact that this is what this ammo was used for. It's just kind of the best and most accurate guess among collectors. This ammo can be found labeled from 1940 to 1945. However, we don't believe it was actually manufactured in those dates. We believe it was manufactured later and then labeled this way so that people would think it was leftover World War II surplus, not being supplied from somewhere else. In the book I've been using, 7.9 by 57 Mauser Ammunition for the Collector Volume 2, he guesses that it is about 10 years later from the original manufacture date. Here are some head stamps for these rounds. They read 7.92 mm. These will often be called MM marked rounds. That's in writing capital M, because most rounds aren't marked with capital M's, but these ones are. So if you hear people referring to MM rounds, they're likely referring to these. They're marked 1944 on the bottom. They also have a black sealant around the primer to keep it clean and to mark the round. I pulled 10 bullets. My lowest bullet was 153.8 grains, and the highest was 154.6 grains, with a total deviation of 0.8 grains. Now, that may seem like a weird number, however, 154.3 grains is 10 grams, so seeing as how this is Canadian ammo, they probably measured it in grams rather than grains, at least that's my guess. The average was 154.26 grains. I didn't need to tear any of these bullets apart. You can see they are copper jacket lead core because they don't attract a magnet. As you'll notice in the bottom here, it is a smoothed out cavity of lead, and then the bullets are light ball with this as the annealing surface. They also have a sealant, as you can see on this bullet right here. These are somewhat similar to the Chinese rounds from L451. I had an error while I was measuring the powder, and so because of that error, it measured 8 of my results as 46.2, which is right at almost 3 grams. Just like how the bullets measured to 10 grams, the powders, I believe, were measured to 3 grams. However, I did have one outlier on the low end and one outlier on the high end, so it shouldn't throw off our results too much. Our lowest powder weight was 45.6 grains, and our highest was 47.0 grains, which leads to a total deviation of 1.4 grains altogether. Altogether, this wasn't the most consistent ammo we've seen, however, that's not really too big of a deal. It's kind of up to you, and if you're doing extreme precision shooting, you probably wouldn't be using this type of ammo anyway. These rounds are made with these little pellets that we've seen before. They do look a little smaller than some of the others. To wrap it all up, the first thing I'd like to note is that this ammo is Boxer primed, meaning 2 things. It is reloadable, and it is not corrosive. So if you're looking for ammo that is not corrosive that you can shoot, this is a pretty decent idea for that specific reason. However, there is another reason that I would recommend staying away from this ammo. Paul Harrell has a video on hyper ammunition, and one of the issues that he talks about with hyper ammunition is that because it's so expensive, many people will not feel comfortable shooting it.
Joe, what were you waiting for? I didn't want to shoot it. Obviously, why not? Because I'm loaded with my Hurtenberger Buscadero Ticondas, and I don't want to shoot my Ticondas.
I think you may have a similar problem with this ammo. Although it's not more expensive than some other brass-cased, non-corrosive rounds, it is collectible. It's old, and it holds a really unique place in history. I had an error with my camera while I was filming, so I actually had to shoot 2 times, and it kind of felt like I had wasted those extra rounds because I had shot them for no reason. At least for me personally, if I got a hold of more of this ammo, I would likely put it somewhere and collect it, maybe on display or something like that. I wouldn't want to necessarily shoot this ammo, not because it's not incredibly good ammo and reloadable and all of those types of things, but just because it holds such an interesting and unique place in history, and I don't know if I would like to do that. In any case, if you decided that this ammo is for you, it is sometimes available places like on Gunbroker. However, it tends to be pretty unavailable. However, I hope this has been an interesting history lesson, and I hope to see you guys when I do my next video on Wednesday. Bye, everyone.